started, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in tonight.
I just
And
played.
we're going to start off by having Town Clerk Greer take roll call, please.
Mike Ferrara.
Here.
Don Dyson. Here. Caitlin Liskowski. Here. Frank Seneca.
Here.
Steve Churchill.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance for a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. We have one petitioner tonight from the county. Harriet Haynes is here to talk to us about Agricultural District 8, not to be confused with Agricultural District number 6, that Harriet was here a few months back. So Harriet, the podium's all yours, the microphone's all yours.
Okay, I already passed out this map to each of you folks. The gray areas in the background are properties that are currently in Ag District 8, and we intend to continue to have them be in Ag District 8 unless we hear from property owners that they want to be removed, or either your board or the planning board recommends that they be removed because of town plans and intentions. The purple properties are properties that have been identified as being used or have a potential to be used for agriculture, and so the intent is that they would be included within the Ag District on this review. The pink ones are out of Seneca Falls, but on the map. And then the blue one happens to be where the airport is located, and because the county does lease a portion of the land at the airport to a local farmer to put a crop on and therefore keep the cover levels low, we also intend to put that parcel into the district on this review. And I'd be glad to take any questions.
Any questions, board members? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
If anybody has comments?
You might have one. I was just talking to Attorney Morrell. Okay. We potentially have some development coming into town that I think, based on the map, my map skills aren't great, but I think based on the map skills or the map, we may want to talk about changing it over from agricultural to a different.
Of course, any use can develop within an agricultural district. It's not a zoning, but there is also the issue of if it's taken out at the time of the periodic review, there is no penalty for any benefit on taxes that a property has had, whereas if it's taken out of agriculture in the midst of time, while being in the district or having individual.
Well, it's currently town-owned property, so we're not paying any, obviously.
Then that's not an issue for you.
Not an issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any petitioners who would like to address the board tonight?
Oh, the part?
Good evening, board. This is our annual neighbor notes that we're about to be sending out to our neighbors and communities regarding what's going on this year. So I won't read everything word for word, because again, you have a copy and everybody will have a copy in Seneca Falls and Waterloo. But a couple things, 2023 marks our 40th anniversary. Very excited to continue to be an important part of the Finger Lakes and continue providing proper and solid waste disposal since 1983. So this year we don't have any construction this year. We've got continuing capping that we've committed to the last 5 years to continue covering areas that we've achieved final grades with. So about a 20-acre temporary capping project, which helps us more effectively collect landfill gas and make renewable energy with our energy partner across the road. Our odor mitigation efforts are ongoing year-round, continuing to put in horizontal collectors in the landfill, as well as drilling vertical wells to extract the gas to, again, make more renewable energy with our energy partner across the road. Our open house this year is Sunday, July 23rd, noon to 4 p.m. We have an open door policy anytime, so anytime anybody wants to come and tour, they can. But we reserve Sunday, July the 23rd, to have the community come in and see our facility, interact with our engineers, interact with our consultants and scientists, interact with our team, most importantly, to further understand what goes on at Seneca Meadows. So we're very happy to do that again. Mulch Day is in early mid-March. That'll be published as well to help everybody get a good start on spring. It'll hopefully be early this year and get their yards all prettied up. And our valley infill timeline with where we're at with that, with the DEC process. So that's ongoing, and hopefully we'll get to our draft environmental impact statement. The draft scoping document has been completed. Comments are in. The DEC is compiling those right now. The next step will be finalizing a draft environmental impact statement and setting the seeker meetings, which will be sometime this summer, as well as we will be doing some environmental justice meetings with regards to the environmental justice areas in Seneca Falls and Waterloo as well. So there'll be plenty of public comment time for the valley infill. So, very happy to talk about that in the future. A couple other things, just quickly, that been reached out to by David Shaw and Peter Manchis regarding a couple environmental issues. Saturday night at about 8 o'clock, quarter after 8, we had a fire in our landfill evaporator. No one was hurt, no environmental issues from the evaporator fire. Our emergency safeguards.
Excuse me. It was a 5-alarm fire, wasn't it? So it wasn't just Seneca Falls and stuff. We had quite a lot.
Yeah. So Chief Al Larson called in multiple local first responders to assist. The fire again was contained only to the evaporator unit. Multiple town board members were out yesterday and today to see exactly where the fire was. So the fire started in the evaporator unit approximately quarter after 8. It was out by 9 o'clock.
And it was contained to the evaporator.
And it was only in the evaporator unit. No leachate spilled on the ground. All the emergency shutdowns that we have in place with that unit work perfectly. So.
And this is the second fire in that facility in 6 months, correct?
Yes. So.
It's not really a facility. It's more like a mobile track.
Well, whatever.
I'm not arguing. That's why people know the facts. That's all.
Second fire at the leachate evaporator in 6 months.
Correct.
Correct.
And it's under investigation. The New York State fire investigators were in at 8 o'clock. We're there almost till 11:30 doing their investigation. The owners of the unit that we purchased it from were on site late Sunday night and are here with an ongoing investigation, and we as well are investigating as well. So we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll figure it out, and then once we get to that point, we'll share that information and move forward. The other issue that happened that again drew some press was a radiation detection load. So a load from ITT Gould's came in, set off our radiation monitors. Our safeguards to prevent hazardous material from coming in worked and performed exactly as designed. So the monitors were set off, the unit was isolated, our on-site environmental specialist then deployed a handheld unit to detect what isotope it was specific to. It was radium-226, which has come to find out, is a naturally occurring isotope that's in the sand that Gould uses in the foundry to cast their materials. Our process is, once we determine the isotope, we email the DEC's radiation detection unit. We also emailed and contacted Gould's and explained everything that we knew at that point. Engaged both those entities. The DEC, then we email that data that our unit takes to the DEC. They evaluate that data and then give us direction as to which way to go. The load was segregated. It's very low levels of naturally occurring radiation. Nothing that would ever hurt anybody. So.
Kyle, can I interject for a second? You guys detected it because you have a higher standard than that of the DEC, correct? And Gould's, they did not detect it, but because you guys have a higher standard,
yeah,
that within the landfill, you guys were able to detect it and prevent any further. I'm talking.
Excuse me. Can we just let one person?
I thought she was finished.
No, okay, so hang on one more time. You have all the time you want.
So I think that it's important just to indicate here that with your set standards, which are again higher, you were able to.
Yes, our settings on our radiation detection unit are set to two times greater than background. So background is you're just detecting the radiation in the background of what's around. Our units are set to 2 times a higher intensity of that to make sure that every load that comes in gets thorough, has thorough scanning.
Kyle, I just maybe just clear it up for me. Because I heard something completely different, obviously. That the truck went through, like, I believe you have kind of like maybe 2, like I imagine like their scales, like when you have to get weighed. And one of them it went through, right? And the other one, they didn't double check it and it went through. And that's the one that should have been checked. And the load wasn't checked prior to being dumped. It was dumped and then checked because the DEC person that you have was upset that the truck went through. So basically, I guess you kind of know where the truck was, but I'm just wondering how the process broke down. Because in my mind, shouldn't both of those scales work? So it wasn't really a higher level of what Mr. Laskowski was
No,
speaking
so
of.
two different events. The events we're talking about with Gould's, where Gould's shut the foundry down to then scan and understand. That set the unit off. That load was isolated. That load was then a couple days later brought up to the working phase, and the DEC was on site, Gould's was on site. The material was in the front part of the load. We extracted the back part of the load, then determined exactly where it was in the front part of the load, and then that load was then taken back down into the isolation and still sits there to this point. DEC and Gould's are working together to figure out what the game plan is going forward on that load. So.
Oh, I thought what happened was it was already dumped.
No, what was dumped was scanned as it was dumped. And what was quote unquote hot that set the detectors off still sits in the front of that roll-off box, isolated. Again, very low levels of radiation. Nobody had any PPE on other than high vis and hard hats.
Cal, is it accurate that all trucks that come through are scanned? They go through the scanners before they're weighed, correct?
Yes. Yes. These are set so high, the limits. These are set so high that sometimes naturally occurring rock that we purchase will set them off. Okay. So, again, another fail-safe that we have in place to make sure hazardous materials do not get in the landfill and get disposed of.
Well, radioactive materials.
Because we're not
Not
permitted to
hazardous.
accept hazardous.
A lot of hazardous materials go through and
No.
aren't screened for.
No, not true at all. We do not take hazardous materials.
You think any paints get into the landfill?
Not that we're aware
Paint
of.
containers?
Not that
No,
we're
I
aware
didn't
of.
say you're aware of it.
Paint's not hazardous, Steve.
It's classified as a hazardous material. How about rechargeable batteries? They get in the landfill? Hazardous materials. They're supposed to be going to a hazardous material reclaim site, like they have an Ontario County landfill. We don't have one.
We do. We actually have, at our citizen drop area, we have an area for batteries. If citizens do the right thing and don't throw it in the garbage. So if the citizens do the
all
right
hazardous
thing,
materials can be dropped there?
those kind of things can be dropped there. Electronics can be dropped there. They're hazardous. They have hazardous materials.
Fluorescent,
They can be
fluorescent
dropped
bulbs,
there.
fluorescent
Yes.
bulbs,
Yep.
mercury thermometers.
Then is that just for homeowners?
Yeah, for residents.
Right.
Yep.
Commercial clients can't come and dump hazardous waste, can they?
Well, hopefully commercial clients don't have hazardous waste.
Well, they have that same sort of waste. They have cleaning products, they have oil products, they have batteries, they have all of it, fluorescent.
But that stuff's only hazardous in very, very high levels and high
Well,
amounts, not small.
when everybody across the Northeast is dumping a little bit of it, that's high levels. We can argue all day on it, but your hazardous materials go in the
We do
landfill.
not take hazardous waste at Seneca Meadows.
You're
We
not
are
knowingly.
non-hazardous.
When you said not
landfill.
knowingly, but
We do not take hazardous waste at Seneca Meadows.
DEC and Seneca Meadows turns a blind eye.
No, we don't. It's 100% wrong.
Okay. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Only Kleenex tissues go in the.
Okay, I just have some updates before we get into other agenda.
Well, under privilege of the floor, I'd like to
Information.
present my quarterly check. This is my water bill, quarterly check. It's not nearly as big as some of the other checks that are presented here, but it is an obligation that our family has to this town, the same as other entities. And if other entities can present their checks, I'm presenting mine.
Thank you.
I'm going to encourage more people to do that.
Online.
I like it. Would you like a receipt tonight, or would you like?
No, my checks
When
are
I lived on
received.
Bridge Street, I put it in the Dropbox.
Can you make sure you grab that?
But personally, I don't think that should be a process that's allowed. I'm sure the auditors would frown on it, that in the middle of a meeting, we're collecting monies from the public. I just don't think it should be allowed. That's really the point I'm trying to make here.
I agree.
I don't care if it's $10, $90, or $300,000.
I agree.
It should not be presented at a town board meeting.
I agree.
So should we make a motion that that doesn't occur in the future?
I think there's no need to make a motion. I've already addressed it.
So it's not going to happen in the future?
Correct.
Good. Thank you. So I'm the last one to do it.
Well, no, I mean, if people want to bring their water bill in, we'll take them.
That's quite enough. No, I don't think we should. You know, we should just direct them to take it to the clerk's office, because that's where it should go.
I agree 100%.
Thank you.
Really?
Okay.
No. That's actually why.
Speaking of water, that was perfect timing, Steve. It was absolute perfect timing. I couldn't have set it up any better. So anyway, speaking of water bills, there's a resolution tonight that I don't want to send people into orbit, but we're looking to go, if the board approved, to a lockbox system for payment of water bills. So at some point, we won't be collecting water bills here at the town office as of April 1st. You'll be going to Five Star Bank. You'll be writing your check to Five Star Bank. You can go in person if you'd like. We will still have a drop box out front, and if you want to drop it in there, then we'll take it and take it to Five Star for that process as well. But that's going to start April 1st. There'll be notifications on your water bill. It'll be on our website to inform more people. There'll be a transition period, so if it's approved tonight, we will transition for them up until June 1st, and then after June 1st, we'll be completely using the lockbox.
You can still pay online though, right, Mike?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Okay. Again, based on recommendations that are coming out, I think I've mentioned before, the state comptroller auditors were here for a very long time. And one of the things that will be coming out in an auditing report will be the handling of money at the town, at different levels of the town. Okay? So we're going to be working on systems for Parks and Recreation. We're going to be working on systems for taxes, obviously systems for water and sewer, to eliminate the need for cash transactions and so forth. I mean, some things can't be avoided. If I want to get a marriage license or a dog license, that can't be avoided, but other things can be avoided. Okay? With that, if you're interested, the town board received from the auditors just one part of their report, their summary report. That is on our website if you want to take a look at that. The auditors came back this year, actually they came back last year and carried over to this year. But anyway, because in 2018-19, the auditors were here and nobody on this board was in office, but they had recommendations that needed to be implemented. They came back recently to see if they were implemented. Okay? Unfortunately, many of the recommendations weren't implemented because there was a transition of town supervisors and board members. And board members from the previous administration didn't do what they were supposed to be doing, and then there was very little communication with the new administration. So some things were done that I was aware of, like a procurement policy, which needs to be updated again, but some things weren't done. So that's why they were here. The good thing with the town manager is, as I mentioned to you before, a town manager is able to handle those transitions. So if there's a new administration coming in 2024, that's not going to get lost in some filing cabinet. They will be addressed. And we will be addressing these issues starting as soon as possible. Okay? That's going to take some work, but we'll make sure that we fulfill our obligation. And this is just some of the small stuff that we're working on. Let's see. We're still working with an outside accountant. We're making progress to close out 2022, and hopefully that'll be coming in the next couple of months. Okay. We have been, as I mentioned before, the EPA was here a few months ago, and we have an infiltration problem, which means too much of our stormwater goes into our sewer system, and so we have been cited by the EPA, which means we have 60 days to make a response. Our engineers at B&L, Lisa and myself and Joe Tullo have been working, and so we have put together a 7 or 8 point plan for some immediate stuff to work with the EPA. That's just the initial stage. There's going to have to be a long-term solution to eliminating as much as possible infiltration of stormwater into our sewer system. Okay? Anytime that our waste treatment plant has to discharge into the canal is because of infiltration during heavy storm events. So that's what we need to work on. That's very costly infrastructure. But down the road, it will mean that you know, people will, in residences and commercial properties, will have to disconnect their illegal hookups from their sump pump directly into the sewer line. Okay, all those things add up when you talk about 9,000 possible problems. It all brings, you know, the equalization tank project that will be getting started will help alleviate some of the problem. In relining of sewer lines is one thing that helps alleviate the problem. We'll be coming to the board probably in the budget season looking to do a phase 2 of realignment types of things. So I just want to keep people informed of what's going on. Okay, I guess that's it at the moment. You have 6 communications in your board packet. If you haven't done so already, I strongly suggest that you take a look at them. As every month, planning board, zoning boards, and HPC minutes are in there as part of the communication. Can I have a motion to approve the public hearing meeting minutes from February 7th? Thank you. Second? Scott? Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? And can I have a motion to approve the regular monthly board meeting minutes from February 7th?
I make the motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Sale of town property is nothing happening. Peter, Frank, where are we with, are we ready for a resolution or we're not ready for a resolution? Did we,
Oh, we're
we
good.
tabled this, right?
Yep, we're good.
And you guys were gonna work on,
Yep, we're good. I have access to the system, so as of right now, it's working.
okay.
Yeah, but I don't have any problem passing the resolution.
Well, if we don't need to spend, I don't know what it was, but $15,000, why spend it?
It wasn't that much.
Well,
but-
it's five
Yeah.
thousand.
Yeah, no, as of right now, it works.
Oh, I'm sorry, I read it wrong. It was 15, generate 15,000.
So you're good then?
Yeah, as of right now, it's working for me.
Oh, all right, okay.
All right, so,
I saw the resolution, so I didn't think it was working.
Oh, yeah, no,
Oh,
sorry.
all right.
Oh,
I guess,
Yeah,
Peter, if, you know, after a few months, if you don't think it is working, then we can revisit it, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Can we make a motion to approve special events?
Motion.
Thank you, second, thank you. Any questions for Missy on the special events? There was a couple of late additions, right, Missy, I think? Right. Okay. All righty. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed? So carried. I have a resolution here to sell surplus items in Auction International, whereas the town board realized the need to declare highway department items below as surplus.
Make a motion, we sell the surplus items.
Second for that, please.
Second.
And I did talk to Jeremy and Joe about the copper. Jeremy doesn't use it. Joe doesn't need it in the water department, so the best thing we can do is use it.
You said that was the copper? The copper?
Yeah, the copper, yeah.
So I see we got 30-gallon trash totes on here. Are they in good shape or are they in bad shape?
They're all basically brand new. The problem is when the Cardinal decides to dump them, they end up inside the company. It's too small, it doesn't grab them right.
So it's a smaller version of the,
one you have high at your house.
I'm just wondering if folks out in town who never got over at all may be interested in them.
One problem is 7 out of 10 of them have to decide back to truck right now. It doesn't grab.
Yeah, if they don't, in the town, we don't use gravel. That's what I'm using. I'm using one of those 30-gallon ones in my house. I think we should offer them for folks out in the town.
You want to take those off?
Sure, we can do that. We can try anyway. See what happens.
I'm sure you can get rid of 30 of them pretty easy.
I got 250.
Well, I think it was right. You know, they're up, free for the day. For the town.
Okay, so we're going to take off the, everything but the 30-gallon trash totes. Okay? Any further questions for Jeremy? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. I'm going to stop there for a second, and everybody's received the different departments' reports. Any questions for department heads on their monthly report? Any questions for the MRB group on their monthly reports? Something I didn't mention in the update, but we were notified today that we received CFA?
It was during the CFA season of 2020.
So we received a $30,000 grant for an engineering study of Barrett Street culvert. Okay. This is obviously, we have a grant in for funding of it, but this is the engineering study. So thank you, MRB. Any questions for Lisa and Barton and LaJudas?
Yeah, I had a question regarding the gravel road and sewer project. Have we reached out to the town of Tyre who may be interested in connecting up to the Seneca Falls sewer system down Gravel Road? I mean,
I have not.
they may help us pay for it. I mean, they've got some casino money and if they want to connect up their,
That part of tire you were saying
That's
connected?
318.
Because I know part of tire is already connected to the 414 line, right?
I don't know, the east side, I don't think they are.
I
Might be
can-
something that we should reach out and talk to them about.
Yep, I can reach out to Beth tomorrow and see if there's some interest.
All right, that's really all I have. What's the B&L, but
Okay,
So she can be 35.
I do like, the B&L reports are very thorough, by the way. I like a lot of
She's
detail.
gonna have a baby
Thank
for
you.
her birthday.
okay, I have a resolution to transfer $150,000 to the sewer project account, G8120-204 from Manhole Project. This is a partially budgeted item. Whereas the town board of Seneca Falls has approved the replacement and repair of 30 manholes located mainly on Fall, Ovid, and Barrett Streets, whereas the RFP resulted in the lowest bidder to replace only 7 for the $150,000, whereas the cost of the entire project will be approximately $280,000, whereas 2020.
Make a motion that we transfer the 150.
Okay. Give a motion in a second, please.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions? I brought this to your attention last month. I just think it's prudent, B&L thinks it's prudent, that if we can do all 30, it's the old saying, pay me now or pay me later, type of thing. And we have budgeted money for that in 2022, and that money, since it wasn't spent, was encumbered. Then we have a line item in our sewer budget for $360,000 for sewer projects, so it's coming out of that line item.
What would be a tentative completion date?
We have a resolution tonight, if this passes, to appoint the bidder.
Correct,
And-
yes. And they should be able to, as long as bonds and insurances and everything goes in fine, they should be able to start this work this spring. And 30 manholes should wrap up within a month or so, so we'll be looking at this to be completed before fall.
Oh, great.
And then when we get close, water and sewer, Joe and Jeremy, and we'll get some input from the DOT out of Waterloo to give us some help, suggestions on the, we're taking care of the traffic control part of the project to save us. Any other questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. I have a motion here that Wonderful Life is.
I make a motion that we give the Wonderful Life their $7,000 contribution
Thank you.
to town
Museum.
base.
The museum.
Yeah. Museum, sorry.
And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Again, this is a budgeted item. This is a procedure that we follow when they're looking for their budgeted item money. We do it by resolution. Okay. So $7,000 to the Seneca. It's a Wonderful Life Museum. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. A resolution here to purchase a chemical circulation pump, where the water treatment plant is in the process of constructing a system to feed caustic soda. Whereas 3 vendors supplied quotes for a pump to circulate the chemical.
I make a motion that we purchase the needed pump.
A second for that, please.
I'll second.
Any questions for Joe or Lisa? Again, this is a budgeted item.
Joe, what is it, 4 weeks to get the pump?
I didn't read the estimate, but it should be long.
Yeah, okay.
Does it say it on the bid?
No, I'm just wondering.
Oh, I would believe it's in stock, so probably be less.
Okay.
Okay.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. I have a resolution here, which is a budgeted item, whereas the town wastewater department needs a new roof installed on the drying beds in the wastewater plant, whereas we received 3 bids for the roof, with the low bidder being Peterman Lumber at $25,750. Therefore, we resolve the town board authorizes Peterman Lumber to install the roof on the drying beds at the wastewater treatment plant for $25,750. And the 3 proposals are attached to the resolution. Have a motion, please?
I make a motion.
Motion and second.
Second.
Any questions for Joe on this? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Resolution to contract with Five Star Bank to operate lockbox bill payment collection services for the town of Seneca Falls water and sewer utility. Whereas the town of Seneca Falls currently employs a system of manual processes in the water and sewer office to collect received payments. These services are delivered to 4,300 clients. And this process consumes at least 50% of a town employee. The manual nature of this process also increases the expense of accounting and finance. Contracting with Five Star Bank to receive payments will cost approximately $5,500 per year. Contracting for these services with Five Star will significantly improve customer service levels and produce expenses to the town. Now therefore be it resolved, the town of Seneca Falls shall begin transition to the service beginning in April and complete the transition to use Five Star's lockbox service in branch locations as the exclusive physical payment method for town of Seneca Falls water and sewer. Have a motion for this, please.
I make a motion that we go with the lockbox.
Thank you. Have a second, please.
I'll second it because I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, second it and ask your question.
My question is, it says the process consumes at least 50% of the town employee's time. Is that accurate? Like the water bills, sending them out, collecting the money, doing the banking, that's half of that person's job?
It's half of a person's job, I would estimate. I mean, it might be 40%, it might be 60%, but approximately 20 hours, I would say, a week of collections and application of payment, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We would still be sending out the bills, okay? We're just eliminating the fact that you come in and...
So they're not going to be collecting the money, they're not going to have to balance the money.
Correct.
And they're not going to have to do the bank deposits.
They still will have to balance it though, because the money's going to the bank, we'll get a report.
So the report from the Five Star will balance it at itself, correct?
Well, it'll be highly automated, but we still have an accounting process to make sure that what we bill and what we're receiving is payment balance, right?
Okay.
So, but we don't
But
have
nothing like what they have to do.
we don't have to count $1 bills, for instance, yes.
Okay.
And then ultimately, it'd be my responsibility as per the auditors that I'm supposed to verify the reconciliation of those on a monthly basis. I'm started with the courts, be working with Missy, I gotta work with Nikki's office, the reconciliation of those that I have to verify that it's being done. Even though we have checks and balances, I need to do that.
Thank you.
So is this going to eliminate a town employee?
I do not believe that to be the case.
So this $5,500 a year is an added expense. If we aren't reducing an employee,
Yep.
then
I think that's accurate.
$5,500 is an unbudgeted added expense.
That is correct, sir.
So just so we can do a little history lesson, for up until recently, we've always had a principal account clerk in the office. We had another person. There's always 3 people in that office. Right now, there's 1 person in that office. Okay. Our goal is to have 2 people in that office, not 3, 2. But right now, we've been operating with 1 person, and Tracy Jones is here, who's our new account person in the office. Okay, but Tracy's not working on anything with water and sewer. Okay, so this has been the new person taking care of the water and sewer at this point. Which,
I mean, if we have a turnover issue, we need to really address that. It's not necessarily, an accounting issue. Sounds like we have people coming and going in that office at a pretty high rate, and we need to address that.
But both things are true, Steve, absolutely.
Why that's happening? Yeah, because for many, many years, the water just ran like clockwork. And again, I kind of point to the Village of Waterloo, which has more customers than we do have, because they service Fayette, Tyre, Junius, Town of Waterloo, Village of Waterloo. And it runs, you know, it doesn't miss a beat up there. It's just very smooth. There's only 3 people in that entire village office.
Well, there's only one person now in our
Well, I'm talking about, that does all of the, there's 3 people in the village office.
I understand, but there's only one in the.
We have a lot more people in this building,
Well,
you know.
We only have one person in the finance and water and sewer. We have multiple people.
Well, like you said, we
in
had,
the town
we had
clerk.
4.
We had 3.
Well, we had 3.
Right.
I mean, we've got the clerk's office, we got the water, we got a lot of people compared to the village of Waterloo. And when it comes specifically to water, they have one person doing it, and
I think the key would be
Not break
who
the
that
sweat.
one person is. I would definitely wholeheartedly believe
you gotta
that.
find the right person. It's not rocket science. It is a lot of busy work. I mean, you gotta have a good head on your shoulders, you gotta be responsible, you gotta do it, you gotta be diligent. Those people are out there, they exist. I don't think outsourcing it really is the answer. I think getting in and out of Five Star Bank is not, you know, it's a pain in the butt, coming off that bridge and turning into that.
Well, I mean, you don't have to go there. You can put it in the mail and mail
Well,
it.
I understand.
Or
You
pay it
can
online.
drop it in the Dropbox
You drop
here.
it off right here.
And that's not gonna go away, right?
No, but-
So all we're talking about is having somebody being able to add up the numbers.
No, okay.
But
And we're also talking about a recommendation from the comptroller to eliminate as much as possible taking in money so that you protect the town, you protect your employees.
Well, my thing is pretty simple. Town of Seneca Falls has to provide certain services. Not only do we provide certain services, we're also a utility. We are no different than the gas and electric or any other utility you want. We provide utility services, water and the treatment of sewage. Okay, so whatever staff it needs to do that efficiently, we need to have. So the customers are happy with the billing, we get less complaints about the billing. The other thing is, there's 4,300, I only thought there was 4,000, there's 4,300 clients. Look, if it costs some extra money, and I'm not one that wants to raise the water or sewer, we do have some surplus money, but if that's what it takes, that's what utility companies do. I looked at my gas and electric bill this month was the highest it's been since I lived in my house in 45 years. So something is happening with utilities.
mine is too.
Yours was too? Yeah. So all I'm saying is we're a utility company here. Not only are we the town, we sell a utility. Water. When I used to negotiate the contracts for different entities for the county, when they say, oh, the village of Seneca Falls gets more, or the town of Waterloo gets more, I go, yeah, they're a utility. They get unlimited money selling water and sewer processing. The county, we don't have that kind of revenue coming in. So all I'm saying is whatever it takes to make the customers happy with our utility, we need to provide it.
And I don't know about you guys' utility, but my gas and electric bill I mail in, my cable bill I mail in. I don't drop it off
You would
in
never
Border
do it
City.
online.
I don't drop it off
Yeah.
in Border City.
No, all I'm saying is how many staff we need to make it work.
Well, again, I think we had 3, and our proposal is, when we're said and done, is to have 2 people,
Yeah.
not 3, 2.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to
And
that.
I think with the right people, and I know we have the right person right here, but with the right people, I think we can have, that office will operate with 2 people, not
But
3.
this doesn't simplify it. This adds this bolts on another process. It actually makes it more complicated. You got more options here. There's more moving parts. You got the bank involved. You still got the office taking in money. You still got a Dropbox here. That's not streamlining the process.
The office won't be taking money.
Well, they're gonna be taking in the money from the
And they'll be
Dropbox.
dropping it off to Five Star Bank.
So they're gonna run it makes no sense to me.
We go to Five Star Bank every day, Steve.
Well, I'm not opposed to this resolution, Steve. The thing is, look, I've been bringing my school tax to the
Well,
Five
did
Star
we do an
Bank.
RFP for the banks, the local banks to do this too? I mean, how did we
Yeah.
pick Five Star?
Because they handle the majority of our checking account transactions. So it's just a natural process that they will be going from, you know, depositing the money into our checking account that they hold. All of our bills are paid out of Five Star Bank.
Plus, they've been collecting the school tax for what, the last 10 years? They know how to collect money for government.
And it's a 5,000 service is not required to be RFP. The good thing about having the auditors here forever is that you can just go across the hallway and ask them a question and they can give you the right answer.
Well, but this should have been a board decision. I mean, I'd like to at least look at some of the other banks. You know, what they charge. I don't support it, but I just can't believe that. I guess you just picked it out of the air. We're going to go with 5 Star.
No, I didn't pick it out of the air.
This is a board decision.
Honestly, I didn't pick it out of the air. Again, 5 Star.
But it's a board decision.
5 Star is the bank that handles our checks that we write out of. We pay everybody that we need to pay.
I heard you
out
say
of
that.
5 Star.
I heard your reasoning. But my reasoning is that this is a board decision what bank we pick. This isn't a Mike Farrar decision.
First of all, okay.
That's all.
All right. And when we look around, when we start looking around to use a lockbox for the payment of property taxes, we will check with Lions National Bank, who we also do business with, 5 Star National Bank. I don't think there's any other banks locally that have lockboxes, but I will check that out. Okay. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? 4 ayes and 1 opposed. Councilman Churchill. I have a resolution to pay 25% of the town of Seneca Falls employees. Nope, nope, just ignore that for the moment. Just pretend I didn't even talk. I'm sorry, we're pulling that for now. Resolution authorizing the award of Fall Street, West Barrett Street, East Barrett Street, Ovid Street sanitary manhole rehabilitation project. So since we approved the transfer, this is the resolution to award the bid. At the Town of Seneca Falls Town Board meeting, the following resolution is adopted, whereas the Town of Seneca Falls is the owner of the Fall Street, West Barrett Street sanitary manhole rehab, whereas pursuant to New York State municipal law, bids for contract number 1/2022 manhole rehabilitation was received, publicly open and read on January 31st in the Town Hall, whereas the town's engineering consultant Barton LaJudas tabulated and analyzed the bids received, and by letter dated March 2nd, 2023, is recommended award of the Town of Seneca Falls follows. Contract number 1, 2022 manhole rehabilitation. Now therefore it be resolved that based on the recommendation of VNL, the Town of Seneca Falls Board hereby awards the Town of Seneca Falls manhole project to project as follows.
Yeah, who do they award it to? I don't see it here.
Good question.
It's the last, number 1 bullet point, Grant Street construction.
I just missed that one. Grant Street, right?
Grant.
Yes, Grant Street. Manhole rehabilitation and Grant Street
there it is.
construction. I'm sorry, I didn't get that far.
All right, I
And-
make a motion, we go ahead with this resolution, get this manhole stuff.
Have a second for that, please?
Second.
Thank you. Discussions or questions for Lisa?
Where are these guys at?
I will have to double check the actual location, I believe,
I got the,
or, yeah.
I got the documents on my desk. They're about
Yeah,
that thick for the contract. I can check for you
I
after
have
you
that
read
right
it.
here, yeah, thank you for that. They are out of, yes, Portland, New York. Yes,
Thank you.
yep.
Any other questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Have a motion here that Seneca Falls Community Band is also looking for their money to be sent to them.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. We, again, budget $500 for the Seneca Falls Community Band. Resolution introducing proposed local law and providing for public hearing, Chapter 255, subdivision of land. Sean sent you some information. Hopefully you had a chance to look at that. Whereas the town board of the town of Seneca Falls believes that it would be advantageous to the town to amend the town code as it relates to subdivision of land. Therefore, it be it resolved that proposed local law number 2 of this year, entitled Local Law to Amend Chapter 255 of Seneca Falls Town Code, be, and the same is hereby introduced. Be it further resolved that copies of the aforesaid proposed local law will be laid upon the desk of each member. Be it further resolved that the aforesaid proposed local law be referred to Seneca County and Seneca Falls Planning Boards. Further resolved that the town board will hold a public hearing on the proposed local law at 6 o'clock, April 4, 2023. Be it further resolved that the town clerk publisher calls that, et cetera, et cetera. Can I have a motion for this, please?
Caitlin made a motion already.
I'm sorry?
I made a motion.
Did you?
I did.
I didn't hear you, I'm
I
sorry.
know.
Did anybody second it?
No.
I'll
Have a
second
second
it.
for it, please?
Do you second it, Don?
Dawn did.
Okay. Pat?
We're definitely. Okay, so this is, came from the town's planning committee. It's we're trying to, otherwise we've addressed parking, we've addressed a lot of zoning. This is in our subdivision regulations. The intention is to make things simpler when you have neighbors want to adjust the lot lines between the two properties, or do something where you're not creating a new parcel and not creating a new tax map number, but simply moving a lot line from, and maybe there'll be a transfer of property between neighbors. So if you have people that want to do that, they can do that without the requirement of going to the planning board and having waiting a month and having a public hearing and the whole thing that is required now. So we're trying to exempt that situation from the requirements of the subdivision regulations. And so this is addressed in the subdivision regulations, so that's why the resolution you just read referred to Chapter 255 of the town code. Those are the town regulations. So that's what this is about. There is also a resolution regarding the state environmental quality review for adoption of this local law, which we can address here after you vote on this, if we set the public hearing.
And the goal is to make, and most of the goals that we come out of planning and zoning committee that meets monthly is to simplify life for people. We want to be pro-friendly for businesses and residents. Instead of making their life more difficult, we're trying to make it easier for them. Sean, anything to speak to this?
No, I kind of what he echoed. It streamlines the process. 90% of the communities that we work with, use administrative lot line adjustment, just to, make things a little bit more business friendly, take the burden off the planning board. As part of the application package, you'll see that there are specific sections that have been updated in regards to processes and procedures. In addition, the committee worked in developing an application form and a checklist. So that would be submitted to the code enforcement officer for his review. And if he needed any assistance, he could reach out to the town engineer. But in addition to that, yes, it's going before the county on March 9th. And the intent for tonight is to basically declare intent under the seeker review process.
Okay. So Peter would review them all. So if I said, I'm going to give my neighbor 10 feet of land, and now it's going to make 2 non-conforming lots, because I was conforming.
Well, you can't make, you can't make a non-conforming lot. The purpose of lot line adjustments is usually to take a pre-existing non-conforming lot to make it to make it conforming, or if you want to acquire more land so you can, reshape the parcel in order to build a structure or a pole barn or something like that.
But if that happened, Peter would get to review it.
That's correct.
I mean, when I was on the zoning board, there were a lot of lots that people wanted to build on that were non-conforming. you know, but there might be a conforming lot next door, and the thing was way non-conforming. Well, I'm gonna give you 10 feet, just so you got a little more land. Now you got 2 non-conforming lots, so if that happens, he gets on that.
He'll get on that.
Yeah.
You can't take, you know, half an acre, move it over to your neighbor's property, and make that non-conforming.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen a half an acre, I've seen like 10 feet, 5 feet.
Yeah, it's not
On the lake. Yeah, things are measured in inches.
Okay. As long as there's a watchdog like Peter to watch it, that's good. Yeah.
And of course, you know, as parcels change shape and sizes, then assessments have to be changed as well.
Right, and these are prepared by licensed surveyors, and they have to be, Mylars have to be submitted and recorded with the county. So there's a pretty procedural process to this. So.
It just seems like one person might be able to gobble up the whole town, and we wouldn't even know. Little private little deals.
Okay, all right, any further questions for Pat or Sean? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed?
Just to set the public hearing, right?
Yeah.
That resolution was to set the public hearing. Mike, is also the larger stapled together packet, which it may be clipped to that?
Yeah, it is, right here.
Okay, is that it? Okay, so, okay, no, that's it. So, I can't see
It's right
it.
after that.
I got it.
Yeah, you got it,
I
that's
got
it, that's the
This is the
resolution.
resolution.
Yes.
Or
And
to designate the town as
To
secret.
clear
so
intent.
this is the State Environmental Quality Review, declare the intent to act as the lead agency and start the process for that.
Okay, so,
I make a motion that we designate the town board of Seneca Falls the lead agency for this project.
okay, can I have a second for that, please?
A second.
So now, on that resolution, I am asking that the date that's in the final paragraph be changed to Monday, April 3rd. So that would be the day before the public hearing.
So the last paragraph, be it further resolved that the town engineer is directed to provide notice hereof of the above listed interested agents seeking a response and running on or before noon on Monday, April 3rd,
Yes.
2023.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded, I'm sorry. Anybody second it?
Caitlin.
Caitlin. Thank you. Any questions here for Sean or Pat? With no questions, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Okay, so Sean, you will complete that, right?
Yeah, I'll send the coordination packages out, and as long as I can get the signed resolution and the signed EA Part 1.
This resolution I just read,
Yes.
signed by Town Clerk Greer.
Here, this one. You have to sign this.
I have to sign that. Okay. And Town Clerk Greer has to sign the resolution we just did, right? Sean?
Yes, yes.
Down the bottom.
And you need to sign page 13 of the EAF.
So I could be, you know, signing over my life inheritance to MRV or something.
Send over your golf clubs.
You can have them the way I use them. Actually, Nikki, sign this one for me, would you please? So that, it's the same thing, but that's the one Sean wants back. Sean, you don't need that back, right?
No.
That's
Just
my
page
copy.
13.
Okay. All right, here you go, Sean, now you're all set. One thing that I forgot, again, Steve reminded me of, so last Tuesday, we had a public hearing, or a public meeting, I should say, not public hearing, a public meeting about the reassessment process that's going on. We had some people show up. If anybody has not seen that video is available on our website. You can take a look at that at the meeting. It's about, I don't know, 70-minute meeting type of thing. And the next thing coming down the pike here in the next few weeks, we think, right, Deb, is your assessment will be mailed out to you, and you can see.
Follow the instructions on the letter, right?
There'll be an opportunity to meet with the company that has done the project, and then certainly if you get no recourse, there's an opportunity to go in front of the
informal hearings with the revale company, and then if still not satisfied, be prepared for grievance and do your homework. Have your pictures, have a fresh appraisal, have whatever you need to prove your case for both informals and the formal grievance, May 23rd.
And be prepared for the most likely your assessment has gone up, most likely. But you got to remember that we are operating at a low equalization rate. So your new assessment will represent 100% market value of your property, okay? And it's not the thing to worry about is what your property is assessed for. Your major thing you ought to worry about is the tax levy and the tax rate, okay? So if the valuation of property goes up, the tax rate should go down.
Is that true about school taxes as well?
It'll kick in with school taxes. Those are what's going to kick in first with September school taxes.
But they will adjust theirs accordingly.
Correct.
The heat rate would have been 62% this year without the revale, and we're currently at 77. So we would have nosedived down to 62, set from the state.
And I think what's important, I went to agreements one time and did a lot of preparation. When I went in there, they told me everything that I prepped was essentially worthless. I think people need to be educated somehow how to prepare if they plan on grieving.
The best weapon or the best tool is a fresh appraisal from a residential appraiser.
But what I'm saying is that communication needs to get out to the people. That if you want to grieve it, here's what you should do. These are the steps you should follow. This is the type of information we're looking for. Because I went out and got a whole bunch of comps in the neighborhood that I live in, and I was told that there wasn't a house in my neighborhood that was the same style house as mine, and that they comped me to a house down in
So many revisions here.
down along the lake, which didn't seem quite right. But Frank was there to have it. And I slipped him a 10 and we got it fixed. But people should know what they need to do rather than waste their time, and come in with their own information.
I have information printed out, and I've had it for years in a folder. If somebody wants to grieve, I have all kinds of information, what to do for SCAR. It's public, it's on the New York State website. It's
Is it on our website? All right. Well,
And
we
only
need to get the
9
word.
people showed up at the last
We need
meeting.
to, all the people that are watching this tape, make sure you check the website.
Yeah, only 9 people showed up at the meeting.
I know that.
It's hurtful if they don't want to be educated.
I don't think that they were aware that there was a meeting.
Well, it's been
I didn't know
advertised
until you told me.
everywhere.
Yeah, but it's not advertised in the right places.
Well, it's on the website. I made the announcement at February's meeting. So we're on video. It's on the website.
It's here.
It's within the Finger Lakes Times. I don't know what else to do other than send out mailers or carrier pigeons. I don't know what else to do. I know what
I'm
you're
not saying I have the
saying.
answer, but
I hear you.
I bet you 95% of the people in this town didn't know that meeting was that.
Well, as I said, it's on the website. Take a look at it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call Debbie's
We should
office.
use our code, we should have used our code red,
Yep.
right? Send broadcast.
You need to be here more so you can come up with these ideas and let me know. It's a
We
good
gotta think of that
idea.
all the time, Eric.
It's a good idea. Very good idea.
Put a sign out front, like sign downtown. But, we don't get it out there, people don't see it. Everybody's inundated in information, so that it just gets lost. And the Finger Lakes Times, back in the, nobody reads that stuff. And I don't know how many people watch this video.
Okay. I have a resolution here. Town Council requests ban on transportation and disposal of hazardous toxic waste from East Palestine train derailment. Where on February 7, 2023, a train carrying hazardous toxic materials derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, resulting in the release of various chemicals, including vinyl chloride, contaminated soil, etc. Whereas the contaminated soil poses significant risk to public health and the environment if not properly handled. Whereas the Seneca Meadows landfill is a potential disposal site for contaminated soil and/or toxic chemicals. Whereas allowing the contaminated soil and/or toxic chemicals to be disposed of in Seneca Meadows would pose a significant risk to the health and safety of our community. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Seneca Falls calls on Governor Kathy Hochul and the New York State DEC to ban the transportation and disposal of contaminated soil and/or toxic chemical waste from the East Palestine train derailment in New York State, and more specifically, any Finger Lakes area landfill. So moved. Have a second, please. I will second that. Okay. Discussion?
I thought we just discussed this then with Kyle, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you do not accept hazardous waste.
We do not accept hazardous waste.
It's a non-hazardous landfill. They have to have a permit to accept
And
hazardous waste.
are they not?
Sorry.
We do not handle and accept hazardous waste.
The resolve here, Don, doesn't specifically speak to Seneca Meadows. It speaks to New York State, that we do not want these contaminated waste, which they don't even know exactly how it's contaminated yet. The EPA is still under investigation. That we don't want it in New York State. I mean, Ohio can deal with it.
You can keep it.
Are we going to call upon the Finger Lakes Rail as well to not transport it, any chemicals through our town? Because I know that they transport through our
This is
town.
the transportation of that waste. We don't want it coming into New York State. That's what we're asking the governor.
We're going against
But
the
I
rail
think the
system?
point Caitlin's making is...
This is the governor of Texas has essentially banned it from his state. Pennsylvania banned it from their state. Michigan banned it from their state. Indiana banned it from their state. I'm asking us to ask the governor to ban it from New York State.
So this has nothing to do with Seneca Meadows?
Well,
Don't want to go anywhere, specifically
But it's-
Finger Lakes area landfills.
I mean, there's
The
part of this
DEC can
resolution
make
that is
exceptions all the time.
inaccurate, that I can't accept as far as passing this resolution, because there are inaccuracies in this resolution. So if you're looking to ban it for New York State, I think that, the point being is that Kyle indicated they don't accept it. And the Palestine is going to, 9 different facilities?
Yeah, we're never going to take
It's not going anywhere right now.
Yes, it
They're
is.
sitting on it,
It
they're
is.
moving it anywhere,
It
so I can
is.
figure out.
Because I did my research, it's going to 9 different facilities. But again, going to the Finger Lakes Rail and the transport system, and I do believe that.
If you want it to come in New York State, Caitlin, then by all means.
Is it coming to New York State?
No, well,
Okay, can you please cite those 9 different facilities that it will be?
I can't sign off. CBS Evening News did a report last Thursday or Friday that denoted the facilities that the cleanup materials is going to. None of them were in New York
some of it
State.
was moving out, the EPA told them to return it. Last I knew, the EPA.
We will not take any material from Palestine.
They're still hanging on to it, they're moving it off the site, but they're still evaluating it. They're looking, they drained 20 tanker cars into a trench and lit it on fire. So the chemicals in the tanker cars weren't necessarily as bad as what they turned them into by burning them. When you burn a lot of those chemicals, then you get a nastier composition. You get a lot of dioxins and stuff that is really highly toxic, extremely dangerous to humans and their health. And this is just asking the state, like so many other states have done, to say, figure it out, Ohio, it's not coming here.
Well, should we also be looking at other entities in our area, as far as pollutants and whatnot? Because we're not talking about those on a regular basis. We're always citing Seneca Meadows.
We can talk about whatever you want on a regular basis. I'm more than willing.
Well, it
brought
doesn't
this up
seem like
today
there's
because
willingness when,
this is dealing with an
we don't
issue
talk
that-
about other entities such as Gould's or Frazier's and, pollutants there. So I want to be sure that as environmentalists that we're covering everything that would be
We
considered.
can do that, but this is asking the state for one specific thing, dealing with one specific event. I'd be more than happy to sit down and discuss all the other things. anytime.
Okay.
I think the point is, and I'd be willing to make an amendment to this, whereas in the third paragraph, whereas Seneca Meadows landfill is a potential disposal site, it's not. And whereas,
Well, but if the DEC were to deem, actually Seneca Meadows meets the requirements or the specifications of a hazardous waste site. It has a dual liner, it has a leachate collection.
but they don't have a permit to take on hazardous
But they
waste.
could. They could. And that, this doesn't.
They have to go to the DEC
This
and
is
spend a-
exactly, and this doesn't say they do. This says potential. The DEC has put a lot of hazardous waste into area landfills. They trickle it in, they mix toxic and hot soils, to dilute soils, and then they put it in Ontario County 10 years ago. An operator of one of the heavy equipment got burned because it was a little too hot. They were using it for cover. I mean, it happens. DEC is one of the biggest culprits. They have stuff they have to get rid of. So where do you put it? They put it in landfills. They trickle it in. This isn't saying they're going to put it in Seneca Meadows. They're just saying there's a potential disposal site.
I'm all in favor of reaching out to the governor's office and having our attorney write a letter on behalf of the town board of Seneca Falls.
That's what this is. This is a resolution on behalf of the town board of Seneca Falls to keep that train derailment waste out of New York State.
And I 100% support it, with paragraph 3 and 4 out of it.
Well, they're just aware of it.
It's no connection to what we're talking
It's
about.
the resolve clause that's the meat of it anyway.
Can I ask a question?
We could add, whereas the town of Seneca Falls would request that Finger Lakes Rail not transport any chemicals from Ohio.
Well, if the state bans it, it's not going to get to Finger Lakes Railway.
Finger Lakes Railroad, like every railroad in this country, is the most unregulated industry when it comes to hazardous materials and chemicals.
That's correct.
And there's a reason, because the federal government needed to move
That's
chemicals and hazardous waste during the Cold War and World War II from point A to point B. Seneca Army Depot, those missiles didn't fall out of the sky. They were all transported on railroads. In the same train that comes by State Street and Cayuga Street every single day has oil or chemical tankers on them that could potentially have a derailment.
Absolutely.
And we would be here in the middle of a mess.
Absolutely.
Okay. Again, I can
I'm trying
support
to
this
deal with one thing
100%.
here tonight. That's all I'm trying to deal with.
And I would support it 100% if you take paragraph 3 and 4 out of it.
I want to ask a question. Is there any facility in New York State that handles hazardous waste?
I believe there's only one left in the Buffalo region.
Oh,
It
I
takes
just-
very minimal amounts of hazardous waste. Most of it is sent out west,
Oh.
way out west in the middle of nowhere.
Salt cakes from aluminum smelting are considered hazardous waste.
And you have a business right in Seneca
And
Falls that generates that.
thousands of tons of that went into the Seneca Meadows
Not
landfill.
anymore,
But it did.
not anymore,
Well, was it a hazardous landfill then and now
It
it's
wasn't
not?
hazardous.
Well, how did they get in there?
because it's non-hazardous.
No, it's considered hazardous by the EPA.
Correct.
I pull it up on my computer.
Go talk to the people over there.
How about the ammonia that it outgassed when it gets wet?
They're landfilling
They
it.
compromise your
They're
gas collection
landfilling it
system.
in
Of course
Indiana
it's
by
hazardous.
rail right now.
It's
Transporting it
hazardous waste, Kyle.
Steve, we do not accept hazardous waste.
Okay.
We will not accept any waste from
Okay, you
Palestine.
accepted
So just take us out of it.
thousands
Take
of
us out.
tons of salt cakes for many years until it compromised your gas collection system when the ammonia was
That's not true.
outgassing.
That's
And
not
ammonia
true.
obviously is a hazardous waste.
That's not true.
Okay, well, that's what Don Genicourt told me.
I don't know what
Former
Don
manager.
Genicourt told you. That's not true.
Okay, of course it's.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
For your amendment? Are we talking about, are we voting on the amendment or no?
I didn't really make an amendment, so, but I'd be more than happy, but I don't think Steve would be.
Well, I'm not going to support the amendment, no.
Yeah, I'd like to make an amendment to the resolution to eliminate paragraph 3 and paragraph 4.
Any paragraph that says Seneca Meadows, correct?
That'd be correct. That would be paragraph 3 and 4.
3 and 4, yeah.
Of course, of course, you gotta protect the motherland.
And I make a motion, can I have a second for the amendment to the resolution?
Mike, can I just say something else?
Can I just get 1 second, then you can ask your question, okay? Can I have a second to the resolution, my amendment? right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we can discuss it.
Right. Yes, Dominica.
I'm just curious, like if, let's just say the governor, right? I mean, she's probably busy, she probably doesn't know anything. So, I mean, you know, everything. So if, like, you're the board, and we happen to have a dump in our community. So I think it would make sense that we would cite it. It doesn't mean that we're saying just that one, because, you know, there are other ones in New York State, but the amendment or the resolution would be pages long if you cited all of them. So we're just citing the one that we know, which I think makes logical sense. And maybe then Governor Hochul could say to one of her aides, oh, could you check this out or something? I mean, she doesn't know every single dump in New York State. I can't imagine she does.
Trust me, she knows there's a landfill in Seneca Falls, trust me.
All right, so then there isn't a problem to put it in. If she already knows it's here, it's not like it's a surprise, so just leave it in.
I'm just saying,
Like, what's the point of leaving it out, I guess?
the point is because it highlights and targeted Seneca land and Seneca metal.
But it's what you're voting on. It's where you live. It's your family. It's right here.
I know,
Right
yeah.
here. So you don't want it here.
I don't want it in New York State either.
Exactly, and it also says that. I mean, I'm not there. I'm not seeing what it says, but it doesn't. It's only paragraph 3, so the other paragraphs
It's
cover.
really a good thing that we put Seneca Meadows in there. We're really trying to say, look, keep it out of here by all measures. Because I'm not convinced the DEC couldn't wave their magic wand, put it wherever they wanted if they decided.
Well, the DEC has no regulation in Ohio, right?
No, but if it came into the state, you know, whatever, they could, if they wanted to dispose it in any of the area landfills that are lined properly, have a leachate collection system, they could choose to do so.
Thank you.
They have that power.
We have an amendment to the resolution. We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor to the amendment to the resolution, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Opposed?
4 to 1.
4 to 1. We now have, we have a resolution to send.
I'll reread the resolution now that we've taken out. Yeah. Whereas on February 7th, 2023, a train carrying hazardous toxic materials derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, resulting in the release of various chemicals, including vinyl chloride, thereby contaminating the soil in the surrounding area. Whereas the contaminated soil poses a significant risk to public health and the environment if not properly handled and disposed of. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Seneca Falls calls on Governor Kathy Hochul and the New York State DEC to ban the transportation and disposal of the contaminated soil and or toxic chemical waste from the East Palestine train derailment in New York State, and more specifically, any Finger Lakes area landfill. You want me to just change area Finger Lakes landfill to Ontario and High Acres?
No, I don't think we should name anything. I second the motion.
This?
Yeah.
It's already been said.
Oh.
Do we want to?
As amended, yeah, it probably needs a second.
Yeah, so we have a as amended resolution and a second. All in favor of the resolution as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried by a vote. Okay.
Oh, no, Nikki said something.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so
Everybody's in favor.
are you going to write a letter to Kathy Hochul, or do you want our attorney to write a letter?
This gets communicated to Kathy Hochul.
Well, I think also
The clerk will send a copy of this to the New York State Governor's Office, to New York State Senator Thomas O'Mara, Pam Helming, Assemblyman Jeff
You just have to
Gallion,
take out
yada, yada.
those 2
All our representatives.
are you gonna change? I'll have Nikki change the.
Yeah, she can modify that. You can modify that, Nikki?
Yeah.
If you want, I can send you the Word document.
Yeah, that would be a lot easier.
Send that to me.
You
and
got
I
it.
can just change.
My suggestion, Steve, you might want to reach out to other, like Seneca County and.
I did, they're on the list.
They're on the
Seneca
list.
County, City, Geneva, Town of Geneva,
Great.
and Ontario County
Great.
Board of Supervisors.
Very good, thank you. Okay. I have a resolution, drinking fountain installation, whereas the community center currently has a non-functioning drinking
I
fountain.
make a motion that we get the drinking fountain. Last year, we approved a drinking fountain, and Don knows because we're on that committee. It's worked out well for the adults and youth that go there. Cools the water, there's a place you can put your bottle. I know it's expensive, but it is a good addition to the rec
Good
center.
for not
And they're not
spreading
putting their mouth on the fountain.
flu and COVID too.
Yeah.
Okay, got a motion and seconded by Don. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Some more roof problems. I have a resolution here, remedial roof repairs, whereas the community center repaired the emergency roof repairs in November, whereas roofing and painting recommended repairing all remedial issues before they became emergency repairs, whereas the community center is budgeted.
I make a motion, we repair the roof.
I second it.
Okay. Any questions for Missy?
The other, is it okay if I talk about it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, the other repairs that were made to the rec center have worked out fine. There's, right, Missy, there's no more water going on the gym floor.
Correct.
And this is water going in the hallway and actually in your office, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Some in the kitchen.
And we just got new tiles in the kitchen.
Get a bucket.
We had one for everyone. Stands everywhere.
Okay, we have a motion that's and seconded. And all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. We have a little housekeeping here. Standard workday and reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials. Resolved that the town board of the town of Seneca Falls hereby establishes the following standard workday for elected town councilwoman at 6 hours per day, and be it further resolved that the standard workday will be reported to the New York State and local retirement system based on a record of activities dated March 7th. Have a motion for this, please?
I'll make a motion.
So moved. Second. Thank you. Don, I don't think you can vote. Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. And we have one abstention.
Okay.
I have a resolution here, overtime reimbursement. Whereas on February 6th, the Seneca Falls Police Department received $12,180 check from the County of Seneca for reimbursement of overtime hours worked by members of the police department. Whereas Chief Snyder's requesting the $12,000 and change be deposited in the department's overtime account of A3120.107. Now therefore it be resolved that the town approve the deposit in the Seneca Falls Police Department. Can I have a motion for this, please?
I made a motion.
I'll
And a
second.
second. Thank you. Any questions for Chief Snyder? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. Chief, you will get with Tracy and make sure she understands where it's coming from, when it comes in, and then is the check coming to you?
Check's already here.
Check's already here. Check's in the bank, all taken care of. Sorry, you got it. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm doing with this
So this has,
engagement letter.
so that has to do with the Rumsey Fall matter. We can discuss, this is employment, potential employment, we can discuss this in executive session if you wish, but this is an engagement letter from an attorney who has agreed to undertake representation of the HPC.
Got it. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think, yeah. Just so everybody knows what's going on here, without going into great details, there's an LLC that is suing the Zoning Board of Appeals for a decision that was made by the HPC. Each entity has to have representation, and Pat is not able to represent each of the entities because he works with all three entities type of thing. So we had to get separate counsel for planning board and the zoning board. So this is a, I'm sorry, zoning board and HPC. This is an engagement letter for the HPC attorney. Okay. So this is RUP I'll never be able to pronounce it. Bowser Goff?
The gentleman's name is Mark Romanowski, not that that's easier, but Rupp and Fallscraft out of Buffalo.
Got it. Okay. Do I need board approval, sir?
Yes, this should be.
All in favor of entering in this engagement letter with these attorneys for the HPC, please say aye.
You gotta make a motion.
I'll make a
Make
motion
a
that
motion,
we
thank you.
engage this,
Yep. And I'll second it. And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Okay, so this has approved and agreed to by Charles Janko. I don't think
Yes,
Charles Janko should be signing an engagement letter, should he?
Well, he could, it'd be useless though.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yes,
unless he's
this-
going to pay for them.
This should be done by supervisor,
Yeah.
now that it's
So I'm going to give this
authorized.
back to you.
Yep, I'll get it to where it needs to go, but
And then, yeah, unless, you can tell Mr. Janko, he's more than welcome to sign it and pay for it. No problem.
could we put your,
Please pass along that message.
I'd like to put your signature on it. Mr. Romanowski would, I'm sure he'd happy to know that this board resolution is on there.
Thank you. Okay, we have kind of a motion for water credits and pool credits.
I make the
Total
motion.
amount, $1,252. Thank you. Motion second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
Make a motion.
Motion by Caitlin, second.
Second.
Don, any questions on the bills? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Okay. Pat, I messed up again. I didn't bring the resolution with me.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a resolution that we enter an executive session. Pat's going to fill in the blanks. Pat, help me out.
Okay, so one was to discuss a matter regarding a matter that could impact upon the fair market value of real property. And then the second one was a personnel matter to discuss the employment history of a particular employee.
Thank you. And Nikki, I'll get you the resolution so you have the proper thing in that. Have a motion, can I have a second to go into executive session?
Second.
Second. I'd like to invite the town manager and the attorney to the town to the executive session. There will be no action after the executive session. And I'd like to, all in favor, go into executive session? Aye. Anybody opposed? Folks, thank you. Have a good night out there.